So as a child, like what kind of child would you say that you were? Like were you really into sports or music?
Bro, I was into everything, man. I was into boxing. I love baseball, fucking music, acting. I love, a lot of people used to say, a lot of these young child actors were forced upon becoming actors because of their parents. Not at all. My father was an actor, and that's how I got in the business. And I used to watch him. I was a kid. I used to watch him. I was like, "Fuck, I want to do that one day." And he was in this independent film by himself with a friend of his out of New York, and he put me in a little scene as an extra, so to speak, background. And the guy who was helping him direct, the co-director, he says, "Yo, this sounds pretty good. Let's give him a couple lines in the movie." And next thing you know, they let me ad lib shit and pout. And then he asked me again, do you like that? I go, "Yeah, man." So I was into a little bit of everything, And then, one thing led to another as far as my career. One of the guys who was producing the movie with him used to work for CTW, which was the Children's Television Workshop, which was Sesame Street, Electric Company, all that stuff. And my career sprung after that little piece of thing, shit kind of movie that my dad was doing that was unfortunately never finished because it was done with illicit money for one, New York shit, hoodlum gangster shit.
So like you were like 4 years old, like when you started showing interest, because I know you were like five, right, when you went to Sesame Street.
I was five and a half when I did Sesame Street. Yeah, I was about 4 or 5. It was about the same time basically because I think it was the summer before I turned 5. So I turned 5 in November, so it was like the summer before, so probably 4 and a half. But I 4 and a half, 5, you already know some shit. You're coherent to certain things, and not coherent, but your mind as a 4 or 5 year old is different than a 2 year old. You don't remember a lot of that shit. Although I do remember some things, but not a lot. But yeah, I was like, fuck it. I went in, I guess, auditioned against like 1,500 kids for this role, and winded up getting it. And it turned out that it wasn't just one of the regular kids on the show. It was actually a character that was written, and it was in 1971, I want to say. And they were bringing in a bilingual family to Sesame Street. So they brought in one of my mentors and a great friend of my dad's as well. They worked together back in the '60s. A guy named Raul Julia, who played Gomez Adams in the Adams Family's the original movies. Um, Big Broadway star and whatnot. So Raul played my dad, and I played his son Antonio. And I went on that. I want to say like a year, 2 years, something like that. I can't really remember how long. But and then my career progressed from there. You get a little agent, you start doing commercials in New York and blah blah blah, and it progressed from there. But my childhood, man, let me tell you, there were times as an actor, I would go to school, all my homeboys, my little boys from the block, were like, "Yo, man, that's my nigga, man. What's up, Posh?" Blah blah blah. And it was cool. But then you also got the masses that are like, "Oh yeah, you think you bad because you're an actor." So I have to pay. I have to throw bones every once in a while. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so then like
Hey,
that's a good point that you bring up. So it wasn't like you were just living this sweet life like straight from five
oh
years
hell no.
old or anything, right? Like
Oh hell no, nigga. Mm-mm. By any means not. We were on welfare, might be for a little while, food stamps. My dad at the time, and I can say this now without any regrets, he got in trouble with the federal law only because, he was affiliated with a group of people that were, he was like a front man. He was like the face of that thing, and he took the blunt of it. It was basically what they do now with computers and shit. Taking false credit and all that shit. That's what they were doing. Getting credit cards and blah blah blah. And back then, they didn't have what we have now, where you can catch somebody quick. So basically, it's federal. He got in trouble for falsifying fuck some shit about to secure credit, basically. So when the other guys took off, I was basically a 5, 6, 7 year old runaway from the FBI as well because they were looking for him. While they were looking for him, me and my mom were running around doing TV shows and blah blah. So everywhere I go, even at school, they would follow me, and
wow.
it was scary. But they were looking for. I mean, it wasn't like a fucking major crime. Like he didn't kill nobody and shit. But back then, that was big.
Yeah. So like
So I went through some shit, bro.
did he end up doing some time for that?
Yeah. Once we got to Cali later on, he it was me and my mom first, and then he came out. He was still hiding. My agents would do a lot of shit because they would fucking harass my agent at the time. And like if I was shooting a TV show, they'd be like fucking outside asking producers shit. So and it didn't cost me work whatsoever. But a lot of people were like, fuck, man. Should we hire this kid? His father's on the run, and they didn't need that stuff. But it turned out that once we were in Cali for a little while, he was hiding out, and we were staying at this little hotel. We hadn't had a house yet. We hadn't actually lived in Cali yet. We were just going there. So they caught up to him somehow, and he did not a whole lot of time. Put it this way, we didn't have money for his bail. His bail was only like $400 at the time. So he had to do like fucking I don't know how long in county jail in LA on top of that, you know. So he did that. Once everything was taken care of, we got some money for bail, got him out. Um, he didn't do his hard time. The worst thing he did, I think, was like maybe between 3 to 6 months in county jail, awaiting the court thing. At the end of the day, all he did was a couple weekends, and he was done. It
Gotcha.
wasn't that big a deal, you know. Mind you, we're talking about 15 years, 10, 15 years after the fact,